living in a silent mind, freedom from suffering, the story of you. Most people spend their entire lives believing that they are their thoughts. Actually, it's not strictly a belief, but rather an assumption that's never questioned. This is an opportunity to realize that you're not your thoughts, that you are not what you think. And with this realization comes the possibility of seeing through the story of you and falling back into your true nature. These meditations point to your true nature, which is a silent mind. All attempts to express the inexpressible will, by definition, fall short of the truth. How to find a silent mind cannot be answered directly. Therefore, I write poetically and allegorically, offering visualizations and metaphors to point to the truth. No answers will be offered because knowledge and understanding cannot lead to the truth of your being. The story of you, which obscures this truth, will not be placated or added to in these meditations. I've found in my own life and through working with others, there's little point in adding to an illusion. Better to expose it. These meditations are not building blocks of conceptual knowledge that form an intellectual understanding to explain the truth of your being. Rather than asking, how can I find a silent mind? Make the statement, I am a silent mind. You don't have to go anywhere to find it. So the statement works, whereas the question starts from a false premise, as it mistakenly assumes that there's a separate person, you, who can find it. You don't find a silent mind finds you. These meditations are written in the hope that you hear the song beneath the words. The words are simply clouds of various shapes and sizes. Don't get caught up in them. It's the sky that will sing to you. Be like the sky. In these meditations, ego refers to your self-image, your personality, your character, your personal identity, all of which make up the story of you. The ego will justify its reality by validating your story and may dismiss the idea of living in a silent mind. Not realizing that you are the sky and identifying as clouds is born from an ignorance of one's true nature. Be like the sky. The ego, formed over many years, is a fortress built to protect an illusion. It deals in knowing and will not welcome being challenged. It was created by fear and has become fear. It fears many things, but mainly it fears the unknown, which is where we're headed. Despite your conditioning and perhaps a palpable resistance to this message, you may sense a deeper truth within. Fear of letting go. To give up something that you know and are familiar with, the story of you, only to replace it with something you cannot know and must have faith in, a silent mind, is not the way the ego works. The ego identifies as thoughts, wrongly assuming it can create and control them in order to find fulfillment and happiness. A cursory observation will reveal that there's no possibility of controlling the thoughts that arise. How much simpler would life be if we could decide not to have certain thoughts? Think of a past regret or a future worry or concern, and now realize the impossibility of deciding never to have that thought again. Attempting to control thoughts will set up an internal conflict with no resolution, and that brings only suffering. Observing our thoughts will reveal that we have no control over their emergence, nor any say in where they go. Most thoughts are a response to something else, the next link in a chain of cause and effect. We don't decide what to think, and we certainly don't decide what not to think. Now, of course, you can apply thinking to problem solving, planning and strategizing, and analyzing. This directed thinking is a positive force in one's life and can be used wisely. Indeed, it's a necessary and practical way of negotiating and overcoming the difficulties of living and can lead to great accomplishments. Unfortunately, the sole intention of such directed thinking is often as a distraction from negative thoughts and emotions. The underlying feeling that one must keep busy, must fill every waking moment with directed thinking, where achievements define you and where resting for even a moment fills one with dread. Living in a silent mind allows you to watch thoughts rather than attaching to them and being carried away by them. Total identification with thoughts that arise means that you are mistakenly becoming them. You don't give this association a second thought. When living in a silent mind, you're coming from a place of peace, stillness, and clarity, which brings a presence of mind that isn't at the mercy of the next thought. There's a healthy detachment from thoughts. The freedom that opens up once you're no longer shackled to every thought is liberating. Instead of being carried away by thoughts and the emotions they give rise to, you watch the thoughts without attaching. Being at peace and having clarity of mind allows you to witness thoughts rather than becoming them, and in a cyclical fashion, witnessing thoughts from the perspective of a silent mind brings peace and clarity of mind. Once you begin living in a silent mind, you will start to experience peace and stillness and become naturally and effortlessly drawn to helpful and useful thoughts. A silent mind effortlessly scans the arising thoughts and has an affinity with those that align with peace and harmony, like turning the dial on a radio and tuning in to a song you love. You don't have to enter a silent mind. You're already there. The truth is, you are a silent mind. You just don't realize it. You're not aware because you've spent a lifetime identified as thoughts, believing in them, which is why it will take some time and repetition to shift your focus back to the ground of your being, a silent mind. The thoughts are not you. You are a silent mind. A silent mind is where you come from, and why it's possible to shift your perception, allowing you to watch your thoughts, to be the witness. The fact that with the right intention and focus, you can step back from any thought you choose is all the evidence you need to prove that you are not the thought. The feeling of being alive. A silent mind is the feeling of being alive. These are the times when we're free from identification with thoughts, if only for a moment. Describing the experience often goes like this. I felt so alive. It was like I wasn't there. I disappeared into the sunset. I dropped away. I was in the zone. Everything came easy. I lost all track of time. All my troubles disappeared. I could see clearly. Nothing felt important anymore. During these moments of being truly alive, we are decoupled from our thoughts. It's only afterwards, in attempting to describe the experience, that the thinking is employed. A silent mind reveals the pure visceral experience of being alive. Whether that's walking in nature or sitting on a chair in your familiar environment, you see things anew because you're free from the stranglehold of thought. You're the background awareness within which thoughts arise. There's a sense of being fully present in the moment and being truly alive.